Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
We decided to do something a little different this week. It has been good, hectic in a lot of different ways, whether it is work, home, projects, life, all that stuff. And I decided that this week I wanted to just sit down with Rage and just have a conversation. We don't need the audience tonight as far as that's concerned. I just wanted to have a talk with one of my brothers and just hang out and have a good time. And we've got something really, really awesome to talk about. Guys, we did a scary story project, and it was challenging in some ways, rewarding in every, and an adventure that I am so excited to have again. But if you guys want to check it out, I would actually suggest that you watch it first and then come back here and hear us talk about it and everything, because we're probably going to reference a bunch of things. We're going to spoil the the tape itself and everything. But to give context is that one of the things that I love to do is I love the found footage genre. I love getting the idea of, what people went through and how this one specific, device caught everything from this perspective. And I loved this idea of doing projects that were based on a universe that my friend Luke made, which was this place called St. Judas Asylum, where the worst of the worst are, the crazies are there, the innocents are there. It's a world that we just essentially get to grab Play-Doh and just form anything that we want to. And as Rage and I were sitting in the studio, we had a day carved, or 2 days that we had carved out that we knew for a fact. It's like, look, we're just going to focus on something. And I had a script of something that I wrote a while ago, and I went, you know what? I think I want to do this. And weirdly enough, you said that doing this was actually kind of intimidating at first, and just because you've done short films, you've acted, you've done a lot of stuff. So what was it about voice acting that was intimidating to you until you officially dove into it?
All right, so like you said, I've done a lot of short films over the last. We started in 2008. It's 25 now. Haven't done a big one since 2020. I think the biggest challenge is kind of being able to do those motions with also speaking, because you're not in front of a camera. And being in front of a camera is so different from being behind in just a booth, because not only is a spatial thing, the spatial awareness is a thing, but you also have to have those motions. You have to be able to sound, you have to be able to protrude a sound when you're getting pushed. And that's hard as fuck to do with just your voice.
Yeah.
You taught me that. You taught me that, because everybody thinks that voice acting, including myself, arrogantly, was just sitting in front of a screen, just reading off lines in a tone. No, you have to act your ass off, dude. Yeah. And I didn't realize how intimidating that really was until you had me fucking sitting there, and I was just like, dude, this is hard.
What's honestly what was great was I knew that it was the kick in the ass that I needed, because dude, I've had such a low mindset with reacting and just feeling defeated, and it's I hate to, I don't mean for this to sound pompous, but it's one of those where it's dude, I know that I'm meant for so much more than just sitting down and watching content that somebody else has made. And getting to do this project, it was one of those that I knew you could do it. And it wasn't that whole thing of I really got to push Rage and I really got to do this. It was, I knew that part would be effortless in the creative alternator, if you will. Yeah. But dude, I get major anxiety before I do projects, and immediately I think to myself, I don't know how to edit. I can't do this. I can't do that.
And you just forget.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. We're oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And then it takes that one person to go, wait, Kyle, you love this. I'm but yeah, I do like filmmaking. That's right.
I do love this. I do love this so much.
Yeah, right. But it was, that was honestly, I didn't know how it would turn out, not from the acting standpoint, but from the technical side and everything. And, it was one of those that once we got levels on mics going, it was that whole thing of all right, I think we can do this.
Yeah, once we were in.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting ride, because the first day, for the guys obviously probably don't know, but we took one whole day to basically just dry run it and kind of see how it was going to sound, and there was some potential there. We recorded the whole thing next day, line by line, basically. Which obviously I know you have to do that in music, you have to do that in voice acting, but in order to get the right take, it's a lot. it's a lot, and a lot of people don't realize that, and again, including myself. So it was an interesting thing to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That was especially I loved that there were these aha moments that were happening, you know, and I think it was from both sides, but what I loved was that it was, you know, it was something to the effect of that, hey man, like, you know, this line is here, but you know what? Shake your head while you say it. And the inflections that happen, and it was like watching a kid light up, like you were in front of the microphone. You're like, oh my God, I get it.
Yeah.
This is how this feels. This feels right.
Even
you know?
feeling it come like out of your mouth, dude. It's just like this, like one solid head movement does a difference on how it gets executed, you know, and it sounds more organic, more authentic. And I could have sat there for another 20 minutes saying the same thing, and like it would sound right, but it wouldn't feel right, you know? And then doing that again, just one movement changes the entire game.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
man. It's well, especially like I didn't know if the content that I would bring you would be something that you would even enjoy, you know, or something that would be up your alley. Because again, it's, you know, it's that whole thing of like, look, man, you know, I've had some times where people have, you know, brought me projects, or they're like, hey man, like, do you want to be a part of this? And my whole thought is, you know, with these specific instances where I'm like, look, this is awesome. This is good. I either don't think I'm the right person for it, or this is just not my cup of tea.
Fair.
You know, it's that type of thing, you know? So, cause I actually didn't even know if through the dry read, if it would be something that if you, like, we got done with it, that you would be like, you know what? This is cool, but maybe have someone else do it or whatever. Like I was confident that you had the voice that I could, you know, look for. Ironically, that part was actually written for Christina, which is my voice actress friend. I wrote this script a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it was this genius moment of realizing, well, we have to do a gender swap here for this character. So instead of Rose, we named him Ross. We changed a couple of things, and it was almost kind of like watching the puppies be born. It was such a cool thing. It was holy shit, like this works. Like this is wild, you know? So
it's funny that you say like, oh, I don't know if this is something that you're interested in. So my perspective on this is I don't have a fucking choice. Like I don't have a choice. And I say that as in like, no, like I want to do things that I wouldn't typically be interested in, because it's like, that's how you challenge yourself as, you know, an actor, you know, like that's how you find comfortability in doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do, necessarily say, necessarily act. And I think that that's probably like one of the funnest projects you can have, is something that brings you out of your comfort zone.
especially when it goes well.
Yeah, and like I love the horror genre, so it was an immediate yes, no matter what the subject was. Like it was an immediate yes.
Yeah.
But like if you were to ever be like, hey, let's do this like happy fucking story, and it takes place in Candyland, and by the way, the antagonist is a teddy bear who goes on like a fucking great streak and then turns into a piece of bacon, and I'd be like, you know what, bet.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm on it. Yeah.
I want that, you know, like, and stuff like that is so challenging, and I love being out of my comfort zone in a creative aspect, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think that the thing that I was, I mean, there was many of things of that day, but for sure the thing that I was very concerned about was the ending, that big climatic part, you know, and it was this, because originally in the script I had it that it was, I think the way I described it to you was that Rose is almost kind of like filled with seduction. Like there's this weird thing of like, you know, her talking heavy into the mic, because it's, you know, this it changes up the dynamic of the script a lot, because originally it was the fact that our patient that's being interviewed has a gash, these scratches across their chest.
Yeah.
And I love manipulating the expectations of the audience, where, you know, it's the idea of like, oh, like you just have sex or tits, or you have this in your movie because like it's to show off, or it's this, or it's
it sells.
that. Yeah. But to me, it's like, no, like that's a wasted opportunity for something that's complicated, you know, because it was this, you know, obviously your character does the same thing of like showing like this is something you've been keeping hidden, that this creature attacked you. This is real.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that didn't want to let go of the original intention. But when everything started rolling and started going, I'm like, this is what this was made for. I'm like, hands down. I mean, it worked out so well. But even then, it's, you know, like, because we had moments where, you know, you had to get loud.
Yeah.
And you had to have a lot of emotion. And I know you said that was a very therapeutic thing, but
Very cathartic. Very.
walk me through that as far as like, I mean, like, what was it like to find that for you until it was like, all right, man, give this a shot. See, like how was that almost like a cannonball moment where you're like, all right, well, here we go.
So like the screaming part?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had actually told you like right after like I think it was maybe like the first, second or third take. I'm like, I haven't screamed like that in years, man.
Yeah.
It was joyous. Like right when you like scream, at first there was like a slight second of hesitation, but I'm like, nah, fuck that, man. And just let it the fuck out because I'm like, this could be really fucking good. Like this could be like good for the soul because you're not supposed to just keep a bunch of shit in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're finally able to just let it loose and not even just like to scream, like if you like for everybody that's like watched it, you can hear actual pain in that scream.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and that was my whole intent, you know, like I wanted to put what I've been dealing with, what I've had kind of locked in lock and key for so long. And I wanted to put it behind that,
Yeah.
you know, and I like how it came out.
It fueled it, dude. It did.
Yeah, you know, like you hear it, you know, you can hear it, you can almost feel it. If it gets you to like cringe and just stop for a second, then I did it right.
Yeah, right.
You know, like if it can get you to just be like, oh, you know, then I did it, you know, because I would say, yeah, it was a cannonball moment, but it had a lot of heft behind the blow up. So
Yeah.
it was definitely cathartic.
Well, especially, I mean, that was at the end of doing, you know, damn near almost 2 hours of individual line work and different things. I mean, like it's one thing to direct,
Yeah.
you know, to look at you and say, all right, man, no, give me this or try this or let's do it this way. Or, you know, one of the things I really love was the fact that we had the tablet in the vocal booth, you know, so it's like I have Google Docs open on both, so we can change lines immediately to make sure the wording's properly, you know, but what I'm curious about is that, you know, being directed like that and, you know, that entire process, was there ever a time that you were like, you know, man, like I'm getting exhausted or well, how was that like before you got to the fun shit, you know, at the end of like being able to like unleash and stuff, like doing that almost hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours of just, you know, giving me all these different puzzle pieces that you did. Like, how was that experience? Because I've only ever put people through that. I've never been the person on the receiving end.
So I'm going to be completely like transparent and I'm going to be completely honest, man. It made me want more. Like
Really?
it made me want more because I got the same feeling that I do every single time I film a short film with Alex.
Oh, wow.
You only have chemistry with so many people.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to creative chemistry off of something that, you know, you created, it didn't come from anywhere else.
Mhm.
And it comes with a lot of trust. And I got that same feeling, you know, like you're not a huge, aggressively like crazy fucking director. Like you genuinely like help guide to the promised land, you know,
Try
like,
to, yeah.
Yeah. And it felt authentic and it felt educating because like I was learning things about myself in that booth.
Mhm.
You know, like I was learning essentially to find my voice in it, you know? And had Alex been directing me, it probably wouldn't have gone good because he's more of a good hands-on physical director and a choreographer. And like, you know, he's great on sets. But vocally, I learned that it is a completely different animal, completely different. And it takes not only a special person to be able to direct voice acting and, you know, the level of what you're going for, but it takes a lot of chemistry outside of that to really trust them and to have them trust you. So it was just a beautiful experience, man.
And what's funny is that when you said like, you know, thank you for trusting me and everything, like to me, it was just, I was just looking for something for us to do, you know, like it didn't, to me, like it didn't matter if it was a St. Judas tape or if it was, you know, us, like, you know, like so there was a part of me that almost thought about like, you know what, if I can charge up the Nikon for a little bit, we can go outside, like, let's do like a really cool, like eye effect or something or different stuff. But it was one of those that, you know, again, I think it was also from the ganja smoking and different things. Like we were relaxed. We were hanging out in the studio. We were doing our thing, you know, and you know, it was that moment of like, no, like let's take this, you know, intangible thing and see what we can do with it, you know. And it's interesting that you said about Alex is that he's more of a set director.
Yes.
You know, and I think that it's one of those that, you know, like I don't know if it's just because I've watched a lot of Naughty Dog shit,
or if it's love Naughty Dog, yeah,
or what it is, but it's one of those that like I love collaborating. I love changing things.
Facts.
I love, you know, again, like it's one of those that obviously, you know, going in with this, like I've got a broader vision of like how it fits into the grand scheme of things. But in the same hand is that if I don't let my actor fly and do what I know that, or let them do what I know that they can do best, then it's like, well, no, then this isn't our project, it's mine. Yeah. You know, and it's to me like I love the hour. I love the we. I love
collaborating.
Yeah, like it's, you know, because it's even in like the daily life thing, you know, like with my corporate job, like I love walking to people's desks and being like, hey, what do you think about this? Yeah. You know, or like do you think this is right, or like this is good? And like, and I'm very fortunate that I have very blunt people. Oh yeah. You know, that because I don't have time for BS, but it's like as far as your history of working with people, is that like have you had the pleasure or maybe the displeasure of working with someone that is very blunt, or that is like, look, you know, or like or have you had a lot of people that tend to like tiptoe and different things?
So remember how I said that like Alex is like my greatest chemistry? He's also my biggest adversary. He's also my biggest adversary. Like, yeah. Sometimes like when we filmed Writer's Block back in 2017, like that was such a fucking grueling process. Like it was a fun process. Don't get me wrong. That was some of the best days of my life.
Yeah. You can tell when you watch it. Yeah.
Oh my God, though. When we filmed Writer's Block 1, well, the first part of Writer's Block in February in a hotel where it was cold as hell. Mm-hmm. Months later, I think it was June, maybe July of the same year to film all of like the outdoor stuff and like where I was like running in a jacket. It was 110 degrees out that day.
Dear God.
He gets so fucking aggressive sometimes. And that's why I'm saying like he's my biggest adversary, where I'm just like, bro, I got it. Like, I got it. And then like again, when I say like I would not trust him to direct me voice acting wise, it's because I had an experience with him dubbing Writer's Block.
Oh shit.
Okay. I didn't have the experience. I thought it was funny, but like looking back at it, I'm just like, I don't know. Just because there's a scene in Writer's Block where our friend Jeff, who's like the main character, and you've seen it, where we're in the hotel room and like I have like the bandana over my face and I have the bat and like I hit him. Yeah. So where he's like laying in front of like the little like dresser on the side and he sounds like scared and startled. He was actually scared and startled because Alex was right off of like right when we were like redubbing everything. Mm-hmm. Alex was right next to him, and Jeff just for whatever fucking reason could not nail the line. I'm like, dude, I did this 3 times behind your back. Like, what the fuck is it? Like, it wasn't even that hard of a thing. Mm-hmm. Alex got he was just so done and just wanted to get the take. He straight up took his airsoft gun, put a pellet in it, clicked it, and then pointed at Jeff's head.
Get it? Yeah, literally gun to your head moment. Yeah.
Notice the moment he did that, we got the take.
Dude, sometimes that's what works.
Yeah. We got the take, and that's where I said like, yeah, he's my greatest fucking partner when it comes to like filmmaking, but I don't know if I could do it voiceover wise.
Well, honestly, I think that when it comes to that stuff, like I don't like making people's lives hell. But in the same hand is that it's, you know, we're not in a position where like we're making millions of dollars or anything to that effect. But I do agree with what like David Fincher said is like, look, you do it until you get it right. Mm-hmm. You know, now that in that case, those are actors that are making $20 million just to be there. Yeah. You know, and he's like, no, they can sit their ass down and like, you know, be Indian style for 4 hours while I get all the coverage around on my knee because they're going to go home and cry in their Lamborghini. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's savage, that type of thing. True. You know, but again, but with Alex though, like, man, like it's like that to me is intriguing because it makes me look at it and go, okay, so Alex is very good at directing physically and doing different things to that effect. It's where it's kind of like, no, man, like it's like having almost like I don't want to put myself on a pedestal by any means, but it's like getting these, you know, accomplished people like in their craft and stuff, but like making the super group, you know, of like being like, all right, man, like let's see what happens. You know, let's see how this goes or how this is, you know, because to me, I agree with like the comfort zone thing where it's like, trust me, I can work with the people that I've worked with, and I will, you know, and I always will. But in the same hand is that there's this. It's almost kind of like, I think it's the way that RDJ said it, was that he said it's like a good fight. You go into the ring and you just see what happens, you know, and it's that thing where it's like, I would love to be able to pick Alex's brain and talk to him and
absolutely.
be like, look, dude, like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
You know, like we have a script or we have this, like no matter who wrote it, you know, it's that idea of like, all right, man, how do you perceive that this is going to be a successful project?
Yeah.
You know, and it's because to me, it's one of those that if it's one of those that, you know, if we have a common goal, you know, and it's if you gel with everyone, then you know for a fact you're going to end up with something good. But then again, you also could come up with something completely different.
Yeah.
You know, and that's to me that's the fun part of like again like that whole Stephen King thing of like how he describes how he writes novels is that it's like you're digging up the fossil, you're discovering the bone, you're discovering the teeth, the ivory, you know, different things, you know. But Alex just sounds like he's a wild human being when it comes to art, you know.
Oh my God, is
gets
he?
me excited to to meet him one day, you know.
He's another person that is also a phenomenal writer as well. Like every single thing that we've ever done creatively together, he's written. Like
So Writer's Block was his baby?
Oh, that was his baby.
Okay, gotcha.
I say like it's partially mine too because I put everything about me into that movie. Like I put every skill that I had at the time in that movie. I put every scratch on my body.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like Writer's Block was basically like the culmination of everything we'd ever done and where we were trying to get to. And yeah, Alex is a wild fucking individual, but he is again one of the most creative people I know, and his storytelling is just it's almost like it's almost fucking weird because like the best way to put him is the dude is his two directors that are his like idols. Zack Snyder and Nick Refn.
Really?
And Nick Refn. That's
No
his
shit.
that is the dude is like sickly obsessed with Nick Refn.
Wow.
But yeah, those are his two like directors that he would Nick Refn is like his number one though.
So he very much takes notes from them, follows that kind of like formula, does that kind of
Yeah,
thing, you
like
know?
Writer's
Yeah.
Block, if you think about it, Writer's Block was technically a mosh between two very famous games. One was Silent Hill, the other one was Alan Wake, which is why the main character's name was Alan.
See, I mean this with the utmost respect because I think I was also very fucked up when I watched it. I remember not really understanding what the point of the movie was or what the plot was, or like because it was. Now the thing is that what I did love was
He's gonna hate me for this.
because it was a very visually pleasing movie. There was a lot of very interesting creative.
He's the editor
choices.
too. He does everything.
Okay,
he
so-
films, edits, and writes.
Gotcha.
And he
No
also
shit.
did a lot of like I know he used a lot of like famous songs because like he when he wrote those things, he had those songs in mind. But he actually scores things too. So like he's somebody who does like all of it.
He
And-
really is a Swiss Army man in every way.
Yeah. So Writer's Block, I will 100% say is confusing, but there is a purpose. And like I said, he's going to hate me for this, but then again, probably not. Because we're not going to be picking it back up. So I feel like I can leak this. So Writer's Block was actually a prequel to The Seven Deadly Sins.
Really?
We actually had a few of the Sin movies are on the channel. Birth of an Artist. That's my movie where he's a drawer. He's a sketch artist and he's going through these are his last moments because he has a brain tumor, and you're watching basically his demise happen in real time. The girl that you see in the movie is not actually there, and it was actually based on Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh my God.
Yep, and because that was one of Alex's favorite things growing up was Calvin and Hobbes. That was his escape. So we did that. We did Sheer Will, which was he was an author. He was an author. And then we had Gluttony, which never got to YouTube, but it was finished. Gluttony was a chef who feasted on people, including me, the first artist, which you see Gluttony in Birth of an Artist dragging my body away.
So wait, hold on a second. So you said it didn't make it to YouTube.
It didn't make it to YouTube.
Wait, what happened? Or is that something you want to go down?
I'm gonna leak everything. Fuck it. So
We'll only talk about what you want to. So, but
I'll talk about everything, man. So it never made it to YouTube because ultimately we stopped. We pulled the plug on the entire thing. Like I think a lot of it was like life things. I'm pretty sure somebody moved away or something like that. But
But
it was just like
just a bitch.
it was it was just like just a whole mishmash of like a bunch of reasons why we just pulled the plug on it and like we couldn't go back to it essentially. But I can tell you where it was headed. So basically, each movie was centered around an artist of a different kind. So like Wrath was a band member in like a metal group. Like he was a band member in a metal group. Sloth was a drug dealer that was also, I think he was like, fuck, I forgot what his profession was, but every single artist, like their movies and everything all intertwine. Characters that you saw in the other movies like Writer's Block, Birth of an Artist, they were going to be in the future movies too. And we were going to end it with Writer's Block 2, which was every single sin in every single artist that you saw in the past movies were all going to meet in the same hunting grounds from Writer's Block 1. And Mr.
Shit.
Scratch was basically the devil, and like basically Dante's Inferno was going to come and basically like kill them in the same way that they lived their lives. So there was going to be a scene where me and Alex talked about it very briefly, where Gluttony was going to be like running through the forest and he was escaping past souls that he had devoured on, and all the souls were going to literally just engorge him into his mouth, and he was just going to spontaneously combust and die.
Oh, jeez.
So like that's just an example. And yeah, basically it was the apocalypse, and all the 7 deadly sins were just going to be demised.
Man.
Yeah, it was a whole story, man. And there was some really juicy shit I was really excited about to do, and it just never happened.
Well, I think that honestly, it's one of those that like sometimes, like as much as we like, I don't relate to this aspect, and I think everybody's life is different. But like you hear like the mentality of like, oh, the one that got away.
That's the one that got away.
That's the one for you. Yeah.
And I can also leak something else too, that was very much in production, and then it stopped. And, like I literally dyed my fucking hair and everything for it.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm really fucking leaking everything. This is fun. We were in production on a Courage the Cowardly Dog live action.
Okay, I think I remember you telling me this at one point. We didn't get deep into it, but you mentioned that it was a thing.
A lot of people probably would have hated it, and that's totally fine because it was a completely different vision. I know a lot of people don't like when people fuck with things, but sometimes you just have to. First episode was going to be Return the Slab. That was going to be the first episode.
My curse. Yeah.
And the whole script was done. I had a physical copy of it and everything. I already had a streak in my hair that was pink, all that shit. Because Courage, we weren't going to have a dog. We weren't going to have we ended up naming the main character Corey Dilworth. Closest thing to Courage, Dilworth being the creator, John Dilworth.
No shit.
So that's what was going to happen. My favorite episode that we were going to film obviously didn't happen, but I'm going to give you the rundown as to what happened. Remember the flan episode? Like the fantasy flan. And
oh,
it was the
dear
dude.
God. Yeah.
That was going to be the darkest episode that we were going to do. So we had this idea that the episode would open. The person that was playing Eustace and Muriel, myself, we were all just going to be like making dinner, chilling, watching TV, whatever, right? Me and Eustace are in the kitchen, out of the way of the screen, so we can't see or hear anything. And Muriel's on the couch, and the commercial goes off. So she's now hypnotized.
Oh, shit.
And in the show is if you didn't acquire said item that you were going to get violent. We turned that up to Catholic. So this is what happened. I'm going to give you the opening scenes. That's going to fuck you up. And I might even give you the ending. So the opening scene was obviously them in the kitchen. She hears the shit. She starts going insane. Like you literally, she's just locked into the TV, and you just see her eyes with the reflection of the TV, like, telling her to do this thing.
Yeah.
And me and Eustace are just like, shitting, talking shit in the kitchen. And we were going to hear the bathroom door slam shut. And we were like, what the fuck is happening? So we were going to go right up to the door and be like, hey, is everything okay? And we hear her just fucking crying, just sobbing. And we're like, what's going on? Can you open the door? The door's locked. We hear the glass shatter from the mirror inside the bathroom.
Oh, fuck.
If you can't be violent with anything else, you can't do anything about it. What are you going to do? You just want that pain to end. How are you going to do it? So we hear that shit shatter, and immediately my character knows, like, this is not fucking good. Like, we gotta get this door open. Go get something. I'm gonna try to like bang the door open basically and try to talk her out of it. Eustace goes to go grab something, and as I'm banging, you like when something's happening in slow motion and you hear like that ring.
Oh yeah.
That was gonna be what was happening because like you were gonna get like the anxiety and like the dread of my character trying to bang this door open. But also in the background, you hear the fucking commercial again.
Don't tell me.
Oh yeah. So right as like it all speeds back up into real time, I get the door open. She's already and she's bleeding out.
Not gone.
So I'm
but
just bleeding out,
Okay.
hysterical. And she's realized what the fuck she did.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine me trying to console this person while I'm getting attacked by the next motherfucker.
It's almost got like that like brutality of like Evil Dead kind of mentality.
That's basically kind of what it was. And
yeah.
obviously that gets solved. She's fine. Obviously visibly shook. Dude gets knocked in the fucking head so hard that he just goes back to normal. Like we were going to have this like thing where it was going to get resolved. So obviously the episode happens, the ending. The ending. So you know how like in the actual episode he like fell through like the roof and like just the screen came down and he was just stuck watching it and he was just eating himself to death?
Yeah.
In our version, there was going to be a huge like sequence where it was almost like a fight sequence where it was going to be me and the guy that was playing the Flan guy. And we were going to be like I would likely receive like a laceration, a stab, or maybe even a gunshot wound somewhere. I wasn't going to die. Obviously, we had multiple episodes to film.
Right.
But we decided the route that we had talked about was if we could get a room and just fill it, like not even plug them all in, but just fill it with a bunch of screens.
Oh, yeah.
A tiny room where we could fill with a bunch of screens that fucking as far as you can see the eye. And what if during that fight, I just throw this dude in the room, close it, and lock the door, and I hit the button for the commercials, and every single screen lights up, giving that same commercial.
You can't escape it.
And he can't escape it, so he starts banging his head on the door repeatedly, trying to open it, and then he just succumbs.
Oh my God.
And that was the ending to the Flan episode.
Well, dude, it's so poetic.
Yeah.
You know, I think that this is the thing is that I get why people probably would be judgmental towards a Courage live action show of some sort
without courage.
Yeah, without courage. but I think there's something that there's something to be recognized here is that it's kind of like, look, the writing in Courage, while it's not Oscar worthy, it's not this ridiculous thing, but in the same hand is that those stories are so memorable.
And
it's
like
if you're a fan of Courage and you talk about the slab, you know exactly what creepy fuck we're talking about.
King Ramses.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just, but it's also like those iconic moments of what was it? The one the little girl that's playing the violin and he's like, I just know it's gonna be bad. It's just these things that probably did scare the shit out of us when we were a kid. Like it's kind of like realizing how incredible, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark was.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you look back on these things and it's like, sure, it's 90s hokey, but dude, the writers knew what they were doing.
Yeah, dude.
And it's a way, like, in my opinion, I think that it's something that, as a young filmmaker, you only have what you can work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like you have
precisely.
what you have. And to have a vision of it that you guys didn't just, come with it and go, well, hey, we're going to carbon copy everything except you're a human. It's like, no, let's make this our own, and it's because to me, it's like that's something that I would be very curious to, like, even if you guys had scripts for it and stuff like that, I'd be
I
interested
just
to
want
see
to read it.
Yeah. I'd want to know what's up with it. Like, cause I mean, I'm sorry, but like if the same stories can be rehashed over and over again in Hollywood and they can chunk out these fucking dog turds and make money, because what was it? Somebody said, God, I can't remember who it was. It was either a friend or whoever it was that they were like, man, like, I just don't want to steal someone's idea. And I went, okay, well, think about this. The Last of Us is about a father figure that takes a child across America and they run into cannibals, right?
Yeah.
Huh. The Road is about a father figure that takes a child, that takes their child across America and they run into cannibals. It's just, it's the fact of that. It's like, it's what you do with it.
Exactly.
It's how you make it your
the journey.
own. And so, I mean, it's, okay, so you had this Courage thing. You obviously had, we'll call it the partial series of 7 Deadly Sins and things. Now, what I'm curious about is, because we did like you had like your project for like Phasmophobia and different things like that. But I'm curious to like, as far as like, take away the idea of direct inspiration of like bringing an IP to a different, medium, if you will. What's a movie that you've always wanted to make, or what's a story that you've like always wanted to tell? Because I know like you've got tons of gears turning in your head when it comes to creative stuff. Like you dive into stories so much. Like, is there anything that's just dying to try to get out, or is there something you feel like that maybe you either need to or want to make?
There, with the right budget, and I don't know what that budget is. Like I never asked him, but it was actually one of Alex's stories that he was actually writing a book.
Oh, really? Like a full novel, not novella?
Yeah, like
Really?
he was writing a book for years, and it was called Lifes, which was about a squad of gentlemen that lived in this zombie apocalypse, and they're like, each person in that group, like just remembering it, each person in that group had a specific thing that they did. Like, for example, One Shot, he was a sniper. I think Dirge, he was more of like the heavy artillery and like all that shit. I forgot there was another person that was like straight up electronics and like drones and everything. But that story is something that I've been hooked on since he told me about it back in, I think, 2006. And there is 5 different waves of zombies. So like, for example, the first wave is like the Walking Dead zombies. Second wave is Dawn of the Dead. Third wave, Rage Virus.
Oh, shit.
Fourth wave, more so like Resident Evil 5, like just mutated fucking.
The parasite kind of like form, yeah.
Number 5 was the Great Ones.
The Great Ones.
The Great Ones were literal giants. Literal giants that like literally when we hear the horn going, we know the Great Ones are coming. And all you were going to see was just this massive foot just drop right in front of us. And that was like the scary part. But what got me was the ending of the book, and like the ending of like this whole thing, this story that he was telling was everybody in their last moments really become who they always were. And like, for example, One Shot, not only is he a sniper, but he's like, we're doing the mission by the book and we're going. Like, we're not, like if somebody dies, somebody dies. Like, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
In his final moments, he threw that right out the window. He threw that right out the window. There was a mother and child that was running with the squad to get to basically, like, the sun was coming down. These waves of zombies were coming in. Like, we're basically on the cusp of fucked. And One Shot sees this kid trip as there's zombies literally like flying at them, and the mom's with them too. And the mom decides to just shield over her son in her final moments. One Shot sees it without even hesitation, turns around and gets on top of them and takes the brunt.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And he dies. And One Shot, I think, was the main character. He dies. And eventually the child dies and the mom's alive. And we're down to the prisoner that was with the squad that they took with them. There was something in the story that happened. I forgot what it was, but he was like this asshole, whatever, scoundrel. And at one point he grabs the mom to like get her out and like to just keep running. And she trips again, and he goes to like go get her again. But then he decides to just keep going. And that's why it's like, yeah, dude, you're always supposed to be, which is a piece of shit. And he's the one guy that technically lived that wasn't supposed to. And
oh my God,
the ending was open-ended, but it is very much he died. It gets super dark, and it's literally just like the bandit at this point left, and he's still running. It gets super dark, and he can't see anything except for the flare he has in his pocket. And as basically the movie would end, where he lights up this flare, and every single wave of zombie is just slowly circling in on him.
Yeah.
And then you just see the foot come down, and then it just goes to black.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, dude. It is, from what I remember, because I haven't been able to get a hold of his pages in fucking years, but it was one of the coolest things that I've ever read. And like that's one of the things that I want to create. Yeah. Eventually with the right budget. Yeah.
I think that even if you do, I mean, think about this is like, because I think we talked about this like with, the movie that I want to make is that it's like, look, like obviously like there's no way in hell I can pull off that, you know, like with like the full extent of my vision. But I've said this before about like that, but also I try to encourage people like when they have these larger than life ideas is that it's like, okay, well, you know, obviously you have like this world of, you know, creatures and, you know, these the things you'd want to do practically and different things. But I'm sorry, but even The Walking Dead has moments where people just sit by a campfire and talk.
Yeah.
And dialogue is so important. You know, it's like you don't have to be full Tarantino, but the thing is that it's like, no, like you have to paint your tapestry of words to keep people interested, because conversations are things that help us stay grounded and like, you know, like give us ideas of how to move forward and everything. And especially too is that like I would be curious to see, you know, even though knowing what I know about some of the characters of this, but it's the idea of like, no, like what's it like when they eat their beans?
Yeah.
You know, like when they're sitting around, like, cause to me, like that's some of the stuff I enjoyed the most from like the Avengers is like, dude, I love seeing them fight, but dude, I love seeing them hang out in Stark Tower.
Yeah.
When they're just doing nothing, you know,
and that's why I love
thing.
That's why I love the Avengers so much. Cause you got so much of that. Like you got to see, you know, what Thor was like with the Guardians. And we got to see that, you know, that whole relationship between him and Peter Quill. Yeah. You know, we got to see, I remember when the first Avengers dropped and I was geeking the fuck out. Cause I'm just like, dude, I never thought I was ever going to see this.
Oh, we were not okay.
Dude, like I always, my first shot that I always think about is fucking Hulk just running through all that machinery to get fucking Black Widow.
Yeah.
And like when they're up in the sky and shit. That was one of the best shots cinematically I had seen at that point in 2012. Cause I'm like, dude, Hulk looks fucking real.
Yeah.
And then when he like jumped up and he punched the fucking helicopter out of the plane, or he punched one of the Chitauri out of the plane.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking sweet. I never thought we were ever going to see that. I love ensemble stuff. And I love seeing interaction. I love seeing that the dialogue, like one of my favorite pairings in Avengers. And it's actually kind of like nobody ever thinks about how good like the chemistry was. But Nebula and Stark when they were up in space,
dude,
that was one of my favorite parts of Avengers.
Dude, especially I don't think that I was in the right frame of mind to get that aspect of the story, because I think I was just, to be honest, I was just ready for Spider-Man to come back because I was just not okay, you know. But in the same hand is I can't remember who was the person that either found it or found this out and said it. But it's that moment when they're playing football with each other. And and he just looks at her and he says, "And you've won."
Mm-hmm.
And she has this moment of like, wait, I'm allowed to win.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is so deep with that. Like where it's, because again, like, I mean, you can take in Endgame and watch it just as a movie on its own, you know, or like as, you know, like not know anything about the Guardians, sure. But my God, like it's like there are plenty of tragic characters in comics. And I'm not saying Nebula is the best one, but as far as a cinematic way of making her so fucking relatable and someone that I never thought from the first Guardians movie that I would ever be so emotionally moved by her in a good way.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's like Endgame is like, dude, that was so special. That's everything about that movie, but especially that moment. And I think it's I don't know if like a lot of people pay attention to it or notice it, but dude, it's like when you do, you can't unsee it.
Exactly. You know, and Endgame just had a lot of those moments, man. Like Nebula's stuff was actually some of my favorite things among that entire story. I loved also seeing, you know, like little things. Jarvis in when Tony went back to go get the Tesseract, and you got
a lot of people say,
like I was so fucking like stuff like that. I love little surprises like that too, like because you would never expect, like, yeah, that was actually my dad's friend. What? Like, no, that's fucking awesome. And then seeing Howard Stark and Tony Stark interact, you know, that was a big one for me.
Oh yeah, it's actually what's funny is that moment was actually kind of ruined for the audience that I saw that with. We didn't go see it opening night,
okay,
but we saw it I think like a day after it had been out, and there's a theater it's a couple towns over. I think when we've been to like Wadsworth and stuff, like we've driven past it or whatever, but they had this theater called Great Oak Cinema, and it was the place that we got to go see it chapter 1 and 2 a day early, because the chain of theaters, that have contracts and stuff, they have to obey. They're like, no, man, you can't show. It's still midnight, that type of thing. But Great Oak Cinema was on their own, so they could essentially do whatever the hell they wanted.
Okay.
So I remember looking up on their website, which it was janky as fuck. Like it was like it looked like someone that didn't understand websites put it together. But I saw that they had it Chapter 1 showing at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday when it was supposed to drop at midnight. And I remember I called in and I asked them, and they gave me that spiel. They said, no, like, we're not a part of the chain. We can show it earlier. So I got a hold of Eric. I was like, dude, like, let's go. So that was the same theater that we got to go see Endgame at. And
Hell yeah.
dude, we're all locked into this movie. We're having a great time. I got to the point that I actually was standing behind the seats, because there was like that barricade or whatever that you can like rest up against, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And they get into the elevator, it's Stark and his dad. And the next thing that we know happened was that he's like, oh, Flowers. Like, well, yeah, my wife's expecting. Well, yeah, my wife's expecting. Yeah, well, my wife's expecting. Well, my wife's expecting.
No.
For about 45 minutes. Something either happened with the file or the DVD, whatever they had with it. But dude, it stopped working.
Oh.
And the next thing we know, house lights come up, the screen turns off, and they had someone come out and they said, guys, we apologize. We are fixing it. Like we're going to do this. And dude, it's one of the most, like, I've had revival moments in my life,
God.
but for the 250 people that me included that were in that theater, that when they finally they said, okay, guys, we have to go by chapters, so we're going to get it as close to that part as possible, and we're going to continue, And dude, we got to that part. Everybody's on pins and needles.
It's like,
we're just
please don't happen. Don't, no.
It's like, bro, it's kind of like when you're like, oh man, this computer better not reboot randomly. You know what I mean? Like I got a project or whatever. Like it was that type of thing. And he just says, and my wife's expecting, and spending too much time away from the office. The entire theater erupted, and we had an applause moment. People were jumping up and down, like,
yeah, dude.
But no other theater in the world had that experience.
Yeah.
But it was such a wild thing. And it was that realization of like, holy shit, like we really were a part of something that was like
historical,
a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like it's just, Infinity War was big. Don't get me wrong, but
Endgame.
Oh God, like it truly was the sequel to that we needed. You know what I mean?
The only movie that is going to absolutely shit on Endgame is Secret Wars. That is the only one that I like. Doomsday sounds fucking cool. Mm-hmm. It sounds fucking cool, and the shit that I know and the shit that I've seen, it's gonna be cool. But we all know Secret Wars, and if you're a fan, you know Secret Wars, you know what that entails, and you know how gassed all of us adults are now. Mm-hmm. That is something like where I look at, the first Avengers and I'm like, dude, I can't believe this is happening. Secret Wars is going to blow the shit off of people, dude.
Now, do we know what gen of Secret Wars that they're basing it off of? Because I've got like my, list of like comics and stuff that I want to go for. That
I
like,
don't know.
Obviously, I've collected like the boys. I want to get all of like Cross and everything, but still, it's like I got Infinity Gauntlet because I know that's what they based Infinity War off of. But when I've heard that they're going to be doing Secret Wars, my first thought was, okay, is this a Secret Wars where in the comics that every variant came together and the world like imploded, or like is this a Secret Wars of like
we're getting Battle World?
Battle, really?
We're getting Battle World.
Battle World. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so
I want to read it before it comes out.
Yeah, Battle World is what it's. So I've been told it's Battle World, but Marvel has a big habit, especially with their movies, of bringing multiple things together.
Sure.
So I'm not going to be surprised if that's the same formula, but from what is gathered it's Battle World. And that was when the leak came out that Beyonder was a part of it. And Beyonder, obviously, I know that the team, from what I hear, that is going to be leading Secret Wars is literally all of the OG Marvels. So we're looking at Toby, Hugh, Ben Affleck, Nicolas Cage. We're looking at all of them because Nicolas Cage was also supposed to be in Doomsday, or with Deadpool and Wolverine rather.
Yeah.
But they decided ultimately to cut it along with Ben Affleck's Daredevil. They were both a part of the concept art. Yep.
Yeah. That's a part of me is looking at this. Like, I won't lie. I have still to this day major Marvel exhaustion, like, or I think they call it like Marvel fatigue.
Yeah.
Because I was such an MCU nut. You know, like
Same.
I was never like big into the comics and anything. I mean, because like it's only been within the past like 6 months that I've started collecting graphic novels.
Yeah.
You know, for like one purpose or another. You know,
Yeah,
and it's
man,
like
they're incredible.
you know, but it's like to me, it's one of those like I look at it and it's like fuck, like you know, there's a part of me that kind of looks at what they're doing and like seeing how like some of the stuff has like dropped in quality when it comes to like some of the like effects and stuff where I kind of look at it where like there's a part of me that thinks, you know what, I had the best run. You know, it's you know because you know because it's like I remember somebody said it where they said, you know what, like when the Infinity Gauntlet phases come out in the box set, we can put that on our movie shelf and look back and go, you know what, Marvel had a really good run.
Marvel had a really fucking good 10 years.
They fucking nailed it, you know, and I think it really is. I mean, like one of my favorite things I always say is that you know it's that Rob Zombie mentality when he talks about Boris Karloff, where he's like, dude,
Boris Karloff.
they got it so right with Frankenstein the first time.
They did.
You know, so it's hard to find that magic again. And it's I'd be lying if I said that I didn't feel like there was a part of me that went, okay, Robert's back. I mean, I'm glad. It's awesome. But in the same hand, it's like because, yeah, you lost Kang and you needed something to save the MCU.
See, that's multiple things that I'm pissed about there, though. I'm pissed that Rob's back, honestly, because the person that was originally in talks should have fucking got it, and it was Mads Mikkelsen.
See, yeah, that would have been way more compelling.
The other thing that I'm kind of like miffed about is like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Did you have a movie where you realized that the fatigue was real?
It was I have not seen any of the new Marvel films besides No Way Home. It's like I literally I stayed with Spider-Man. That's pretty much where I stayed.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
The other thing I was gonna say in terms of the things that pissed me off, Kang's back.
What?
Jonathan Major's shit just got dropped, and he's written into the script of Doomsday apparently.
Oh my god!
But it's because we're likely going to see the Council of Kangs and Doom ripping them apart.
Oh, so it'll be like more of a short-lived kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think. No, he's not coming back for a whole storyline. Like I think it's only to not only obviously tie up the loose ends, but yeah, I think that's what I've heard. But yeah, there's only a select few good Marvel things like right now post MCU or post the Infinity saga. The Multiverse Saga has been a really, really rough train wreck when it's literally the funnest concept. Like, how do you fumble it that bad?
See, I think that a lot of people probably had misconceptions of, like, for instance, like Doctor Strange 2. You know, where it was like Multiverse of Madness. Holy shit, we're gonna get Thomas the Tank Engine. We're gonna get fucking Ghostbusters. Where it's like, guys, that's not what's happening here. Now, I will say that the film itself I feel like it could have been bigger.
It could have been a lot bigger.
It could, like, because now I do think that there is a compelling thing of, like, for instance, when they come to the city that's, obviously different universe, but like the stoplights are different. It's such a wild concept to have to think of, like, as a concept artist, like, how do you imagine worlds being different from what we understand? Like, I know that this is a massive feat to try to accomplish, but in the same hand, I agree, like, it's you could have so much fun with it, and it's almost kind of like I think we just need to rely on Deadpool to just handle the multiverse.
Bro, I was literally that's where I was going. I was like, that you are down fucking bad when a Deadpool movie does a better job at displaying the multiverse than an actual fucking movie with multiverse in the title.
Why was Thor crying?
Secret Wars, bro. Secret Wars, bro. Yeah. Like, why was he crying? He's like, no, that's in the distance. Get that off the screen.
Yeah. See, and that's why I love that is that even if that promise takes like 10 years for us to get to the end of it, if we look back at it where it's like, holy shit, they paid attention.
Yes.
Like that's what I do love about Marvel's vision, because they do
the long
deliver.
term is good.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes the journey is fucking rocky. Deadpool 3, solid movie.
Yeah.
Guardians 3, solid fucking movie.
I still have not seen Guardians 3 because of the rocket scenes.
Buddy, buckle up.
I know it's worth it. I know.
No, I'm saying buckle up when you do. I know it's worth it, but you will cry a lot. I will say out of all of them, it is my least favorite. 2 is my favorite.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 is my that, and I feel like I have a handicap there because the first time I ever tripped on shrooms, I watched Guardians 2.
Oh, dear
the
God.
opening was the fucking best thing since sliced bread, dude. I swear to God, if I were to ever do it again, that is the movie I'm putting on. Like that is the movie I'm putting on. But Guardians 3 was definitely my least favorite just because it was very bleak. I like bleak shit. I loved The Long Road, or The Long Walk rather. But it is a bleak film. Like it's funny in some instances. Like we got the first Marvel F-bomb in that movie.
Open the fucking door. Yeah.
You can grab the handle. Now what? Open the fucking door. like that was great. But it is a really sad movie, man. And it's the last time you see the Guardians together. You know, it's the last time for a lot of things, but at the very end of things, it was a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
But it is a bleak movie. It is so fucking bleak.
Well, actually, it's like even like as I look for any opportunity to talk about it, but since you brought it up, you know, like the Long Walk, you know, like that's a story that I know that when you had reacted to it, I know you were in the thick of all your shit, you know, and I remember looking at it and going, oh my God, this is a movie that Rage would absolutely like. He would dig. Like, I mean, it's, you know, for me, it's dethroned The Last of Us. Like, it's something that, you know, like I have. You know, as like Eric and I talked about this in our Shabuzi reaction, but it was the fact that it was like, no, dude, like we have the book, which was phenomenal. You have the movie that is reaching an audience that it never would have before, and we have a song that fits with the film that says everything about the story in both mediums. Yeah, and I remember feeling there was a part of me that felt really terrible that it hit you that hard. You know, but in the same hand, there was also that part of me that looked at it and went, that's why this is good. Because this is so real, you know, because it's like you need a Peter McVries in your life.
You really fucking do.
You know, and it's because I remember even telling Eric, like when we did our reaction, I'm like, no, dude, I'm like, The Long Walk fundamentally changed my mental health. Like after I watched it. And again, that's not a pedestal everybody has to have it on, but it's like, I know for me personally, you know.
I would actually be inclined to agree with you there. And I think that movie honestly kind of like put a lot of things into perspective, especially like, you know, even if you lose people, you keep going. Yeah. You know, and no matter what, you're going to lose people, you know, you're going to feel the loss, but you know, even so there at the very end of the day, there's a goal here, you know, there's something waiting at the very end, you know, we don't know what the fuck it is. Right. But, you know, and that movie was basically, and like you said, just to quote you, I was in the thick of my shit at the time, and I was at a place where I didn't want to keep going. You know, like I was at a place where I just like, dude, it felt like my life was over. Not in terms of like, you know, the obvious like main thing, but you know, like I'm starting over from the ground up, brick by brick. You know, so feeling that immense weight on my shoulders, and then pairing it with this movie that is just riveting, dude. Like it was, like you said, it was so damn bleak, but it was, you walk away completely different. And I think that movie really did help with kind of my own healing journey in a way. Yeah. So I would have to agree with you there, man.
It's the irony, you know. I
needed it.
Well, dude, I think that it's the thing of that, like I really wanted to, you know, not just like watch you react to it, but there was a part of me that not only wanted to watch it with you for the first time, obviously like it happened how it happened, but in the same hand is that there was this, and I've never had this before, like pulled in this way, where I looked at, you know, this crazy ass concept of, can a human being walk for 5 days straight with no sleep and barely any bathroom breaks. I mean, it's like you can like scrutinize it and then it will kind of fall apart. But in the same hand is that it was this moment that I wondered, I'm like, could I walk for 24 hours? You know, like could I train myself to get to that point? And I remember just thinking to myself, like it was one of the moments where I'm like, I want to do this with Rage. Like if I was going to do something this crazy, or like if not 24, then definitely 12 hours, you know, where it's like, you know, I know that there's therapy in many different ways. And I know that it's one of those that through those 24 hours where it would be like, no, man, let's talk. Yeah. You know, let's talk about these things. Like, it's like kind of that Peter moment where he's like, no, he's like, that's good. He's like, talk about your mom. It's how we're going to get through this. Like, what's her name? You know,
Yeah.
it's like those moments where you really, now again, we're not complete strangers, but it's that fact where it's like, no, man, like, tell me about when you were 6. I'll tell you about when I was 6.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm going to open up about some really dark shit that either that happened to me, I did, or this stuff or whatever. And it's like, you know, but in the same hand, it's that fact of like, no, man, like you keep each other's sanity, you laugh, you get through it, you see a rainbow and you're thankful. You know, it's those things like there's things that I would love to be able to harness and enjoy. I will not shit while walking.
No, I won't either.
You know, but you know,
That's where I draw the line.
yeah. but I mean, truthfully, like there was this beckoning kind of call thing that was just like, it was this moment of, man, like I don't know if we could ever physically do it, you know, or if, you know, whether or not it's with time, scheduling, you know, actual physique, like anything like that, where it's like, no, like we both in this moment right now are not geared to walk 24 hours. That's impossible.
No,
But in the same hand, it's there that I think that's also the thing that excites me, is because it is impossible. Where it's kind of like, no, I want to accomplish impossible things, you know, even if it is this one really ridiculous art inspired goal. But in the same hand, it's like, no, man, like I look at big titans of things I want in my life where it's like, I want the impossible, you know?
Yeah, you know, and like that's kind of also where I'm at too, you know, about like accomplishing the impossible. Like, so for a lot of people that don't know me, I'm a massive, massive wrestling fan. And they're my favorite wrestler of all time, ironically enough, in 2011 got disqualified from ever doing it again for 9 years. And we didn't even know that he was ever going to come back, because he had I think it was a double or triple neck fusion surgery.
Oh yeah.
He broke his neck, and he was their world champion at the time, and he was starting to feel symptoms of losing all feelings in his arms and his hands.
Yeah.
So they had to medically disqualify him. He came back 9 years later, completely cleared, and is taking fucking crazy bumps, doing crazy shit again, and he was never supposed to come back.
How does someone come back from a spinal neck injury?
So
and be cleared. I mean, I'm not saying like you're his doctor, not like you would know, but
So-
like that blows my mind.
So when he left WWE and he left wrestling, he ended up going into the movie industry, and he's actually been a part of things like Vikings, one of my favorite shows of all time. He's done a few movies. He's actually Ares in the new Percy Jackson.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Really?
Yep, he's Ares in that movie.
Man, Edge is making his way around.
He is.
Yeah.
And he's gifted. He's fucking incredible. He said something when he came back that has resonated with me, and it didn't click until obviously my big life event recently. And he said there was a time where I thought I was never going to come back to this, and metaphorically, I always think there was a time where I was never going to come back to myself, and that I'm not going to accomplish anything, and you know, obviously, everything that I love is over. He said all it took was one thing. And for him, he was doing a YouTube episode with another wrestler called the Celtic Warrior Workouts, where they were mountain biking, and he took a nasty fucking wipeout. And he got right up and was just like, that was a good one, wasn't it? And the first thing that went in his head wasn't, oh shit, that like my fucking leg hurts. The first thing that went off in his head was, my neck doesn't hurt. That's what got his gears rolling.
Holy
so
shit.
he flew out to he lives in North Carolina. He flew out to, I think it was like Pennsylvania or something, and went to go see WWE's doctor. Or he went to go see his regular doctor first. And he was like, oh, I'm going to go check something just to make sure that he didn't fuck anything up, you know, whatever. And they're like, no, your neck looks good. And he was like, good. And he was like, yeah, he's like, obviously it's not like a fucking teenager's neck or whatever. And I wouldn't advise you, you know, do some crazy fucking like, you know, Evel Knievel type shit, but everything looks good. He was like, huh. And that's when the gears started turning.
Yeah.
He went back to the gym, started working out again, got into really probably the best shape of his life. And he also got this thing to train his neck. Like it's like a helmet that he has to wear that's like has resistance to it, and that you can turn up the weight. And he like does these like neck move exercises, right? So he flies out to, I think, Pennsylvania to go see Dr. Maroon, which is their doctor for WWE. And his wife is also a wrestler, but she's more so like a commentator for at the time, one of the developmental centers for them. And, you know, she was like, you know, look, it's been great. You know, it's been a great run here, but now we're going to get serious. I'm not expecting anything. So she took the flight back down to Orlando to go to her job. The moment she landed, she got a text, and the text only said 2 words: I'm cleared.
Wow.
he came back at the Royal Rumble, which is literally anybody can come back out of nowhere because there's a timer and then somebody comes out.
Yeah.
And I'll show you, like, obviously the video of his return after the fact because just the emotion on this dude's face. When he came back the following night at Monday Night Raw, he cut a promo. And he said, ever since that moment, I've been asking myself, what if? What if I was able to get back in here? What if I was able to come back and do the thing I love more than anything? And he said, ever since I came back, I do my absolute best that if I have a what if, I make it disappear.
Oh.
And that has resonated with me. And that is why, The Long Walk, his story, everything has made this new way of life for me okay. So that one thing is what I hold on to, is making what ifs disappear.
Dude, that's fucking powerful, man.
Yeah.
I am so fucking happy to be able to say that we've been able to do this, that to be able to be here in person, to do an episode. I've had a few times of my life where I've had out of body experiences because of, one thing or another. This is one of them. And, it's that thing of like, where it's not even just the fact that you're, it's like that we're able to like gel on these creative things, or that we enjoy, similar things, but like maybe our tastes differ on other things, but it's like, no, we sharpen iron, like with these, mentalities or these conversations. But it's actually one of my favorite things ever that's ever happened to me, which it relates to this moment, because it's the only way that I can describe on like how I feel, is that our buddy Brent is Brent TV. If you guys have never watched his stuff or have found him on TikTok, do yourself a favor, watch his squirrels video, Brent TV squirrels. That's all you got to do to find everything you need. But we had him on the podcast, and it was around the time that he was really seeing a lot of success, and it was like, we were like, holy shit, like, Brent's making this happen. And he was giving us an insight into what he was going to be doing next. And it was a picture of him as a ice cream connoisseur, like, truck guy. And I remember he texted it to me. And we're having this podcast, we're live, and he's like, don't show the camera. He said, but you and Eric can see the picture I'm going to send you. And this is like, 3 years ago, so it's old news. But and I remember looking at it, and I was so elated, and I'm like, this is so fucking cool. Like, one of my buddies is having a good time, and he's enjoying the shit out of it. And and it was, I don't know, it was that moment of like, it was the first time that I had felt truly like happy in what I was doing since my divorce, since changing that room, since all those different things. And that's very much how today has felt, man. Like, it's weird. Like, it's, I obviously, I think we both had those moments when we were in the studio doing this, this awesome, project and everything. But in the same hand is that, like, dude, conversations with people is where I really love to thrive.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the best shit, man. And I can't thank you enough for trusting us to come out here and to relax and enjoy and to do everything. Obviously, like, you're not leaving yet. You got
I got a little bit.
Yeah, you got some days.
I got some days.
But in the same hand is that, no, man, it's, for people on Cavecast, this is going to be, the main time they get to like really hang out with you in the most present, and you're going to be here again. We're going to do this again. But
of course.
No, man, I just, I can't thank you enough for just being just like an awesome dude, being my friend, and just being somebody that just loves art as much as I do, man. I think that you impress me with the way that you love art very much, so it's fucking awesome.
For a long time, it's all I had.
Yeah, it's one of those that it saves us, but then it also comforts us, and then sometimes it's just nothing but our joy, So it's cool to have a lifeline, but it's cool when that lifeline sticks around in a good way, So
I couldn't agree more, man. It's been beautiful, dude. Like, just being here, just being able to breathe for a second, really kind of get a grasp of like what I want out of life, and just kind of having a safe space to do that, So again, I appreciate and thank you for having me.
Dude, we
Always.
love it, man. We love you. It's it's so cool to know for a fact that, you know, selfishly, if I can look back on this moment, you know, in the years to come, I'm like, dude, like, we made something fucking cool.
We really
you
did.
know, it's, we did something fun, man.
We really did.
But either way, guys, if you have been watching up to this point, thank you so much for joining us. I know that we have we have so many things that are in our minds that we want to be able to accomplish and do, and I'm sure we could have been here for about 2 more hours talking about everything else. But for right now, we're gonna stop the conversation here. But much like the members episode, man, I give this to Eric at the end of every show. But is there anything you'd like to tell the audience before we officially jump off until next time?
Do something that makes you happy. Life is too short, and just go for it. You know, just go for it. Don't ever second guess yourself. Live as hard as you can. Love even harder. And just be kind. That's it.
Right
That's
on.
it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, hey, we love you. We'll see you next time. Adios.